7 years ago, Mike Fetchner heard the story of a woman from the slums of Nairobi, Kenya, who is bringing thugs to Christ under a bridge near her home. This is the story of our journey to meet her and to learn how his bridge builders might join in her efforts to bring the light of Christ to one of the darkest places in the world. In the media around Nairobi, she is known as the Slum Queen, but in Huruma, the slum where she lives, they simply know her as Mama Lucy. This is Mike and I joining her on the bridge with the very thugs that she brought to Christ. She does more than witness to thugs. She has her own school called Little Bees that is home to over 200 orphans. Feed the Children Africa sponsors Little Bees with a food program. This is how she prepared the meals before the partnership with Feed the Children that provided her with this new industrial cooker. You would never know by the smiles on these kids' faces that they were mostly orphans in one of the most notorious slums in all of Africa. It didn't take Mama Lucy long to put us to work feeding her kids, and I have to say that serving these beautiful children was one of the highlights of our trip. We were introduced to the Feed the Children HIV Intervention and Prevention Team. Home to one of the harshest HIV/AIDS epidemics, Kenya has an estimated 1.5 million people living with HIV, and around 1.2 million children have been orphaned there as a result. Kenya's HIV prevalence peaked in 2000 and since has seen a dramatic decline. The decline is partially attributable to education and awareness like the Feed the Children HIV team provides. However, the need is still great. Only half of adults who needed treatment are receiving it, and only 1 in 5 HIV-positive children have access to it. The team was anxious to show us what they do, so we quickly left for one of the slums where they work. They took us to Dandora. There are 4 million people living in Nairobi, and all of their trash is dumped on the people that call Dandora home. Pictures cannot adequately capture what we saw there, but the images and smell from that place will never leave me. We didn't go to Dandora to see the mountains of refuse. We went to meet Anna. Anna is HIV positive. Her daughter died from HIV, and Anna, though very sick, is doing her best to raise her daughter's 4 children. This is the home where Anna and her 4 grandchildren live. No electricity, no plumbing, no beds, cardboard and tin walls with a broken lantern hanging from the wall. She didn't have the strength to walk on her own, so we helped her outside to get some sun. In the short time we had with them, we loved on them with all our heart and let them know that Jesus has not forgotten them and that he loves them more than we know.
Jesus loves you, and he has not forgotten you, okay? Jesus has not forgotten you. He sent us here to tell you that we love you and that he loves you, okay?
If Anna doesn't improve, these beautiful children will be added to the ranks of the millions of HIV orphans already living on the streets and slums of Nairobi. But thanks to the Feed the Children team that are providing food and medicine, there is hope for Anna to get better. We were led to provide additional support and are grateful to have been able to provide beds, blankets, and to pay for her back rent. There is so much more to do as we learn more about the story of the thugs that used to terrorize Mama Lucy's neighborhood and how through her continually loving them like Jesus, they eventually gave up their former life as kings of the slums and were born again as sons of the King of Kings. She told us how these men needed mentors that will show them the way. They need education and skills that will allow for them to work and provide for their families. and they need to be discipled in the Word of God. We are encouraged by the fact that the very things Mama Lucy described they need in Haruma are the cornerstones of the His Bridge Builders ministry. We join Mama Lucy in believing that another world is possible. It is God's plan to change the world, and He chose His followers to be that change. He chose you, and He chose me. In Jesus' final sermon, He depicts the scene of the final judgment where He will separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats. And what determines His choice? Jesus goes on to say that those on the right, the sheep, will be those who fed Him when He was hungry, brought Him water when He was thirsty, gave Him a place to stay when He had none, clothed Him when He was naked, and provided comfort when He was sick or in prison. Help us as we live out this command to serve the least of these. Become a bridge builder.